Got a rhythm going. But I won't use this for the intro because I called him out. It might end up in the B-roll. Don't you know? Bum, 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 bum. Hey everyone, I'm Branden Bodendorfer, and guys, thank you for joining me for another week on this podcast. You know, I got a lot of compliments last week from all the content that we put together for you guys, and you know, I really enjoyed doing this. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in 2021 for each and every one of us. And I hope you guys all took my conversation about being urgent with the goals and ambitions you have in front of you. Today, I'm going to talk about just one thing. And why is that so important? Why is one thing so important? And we're going to talk about that. So, first off, all you guys, I really do appreciate your comments. I do appreciate you guys reaching back out to us. I appreciate you sending me a chat. And whoever this is right now, I'm sorry we're going to miss it, but I will follow up to you. If you guys leave me a chat at any given time, if we are not able to respond, go ahead and include your email and your full name in the chat, and I can rest assured somebody will follow up with you in a few days, nonetheless, to be able to answer whatever question you have. So don't think just because we're sitting here and our chat attendant is going off there that we're not able to connect with you, because we will, that's for sure. But today we're going to talk about one more thing, because a lot of you guys, when we were talking last week, you told me that, you know, the daily key 3, you understand the principles behind it. You understand the point of maximizing the things that matter most, those action steps, those crucial action steps that are going to help you exceed in your goals. You guys all told me that you get it. You understand the value. However, just some days you just can't fit it in. You can't get all 3 things. And some of you even told me that with your work schedule, your home schedule, the life that you already have, the one that you're living in, you just haven't been able to carve out time to really dive in and look at those goals and aspirations that you have for this year. And what I'm telling you right now is I want you guys to focus on one thing. And I'm going to tell you what you need to do and how you need to do that. But first off, I want to kind of reflect a little bit of myself as I take a drink of water here. One thing I noticed from listening to myself in the last podcast, sometimes I get so excited, I get talking so fast that I forget to breathe or just take it all in and just hear what you guys have to say. But for my own aspirations over the last few years, this week is pretty remarkable for me. 4 years ago, we made a decision to start a news organization, and it's grown to one of the largest news organizations in the area that I live. And we've become one of the most respected place to get all of your updates on what's happening in the community, sports, news in general. And we just have had a lot of fun with it. And we've published thousands of stories over the last 4 years. And the one thing that just kind of hits me first and foremost is that if I never would have took the leap of writing that first article, we never would have jumped on board with the idea and wrote that first article, would we been able to make the accomplishments and thrive throughout the last 4 years? And the answer is no. We often have to understand that we can only start to see success and begin to be successful when we make that initial plunge. We do that first thing. And so many of us, sometimes we sit back here and we hold ourselves accountable to being able to move the needle forward, but we get so worked up in the details. We want to be perfect, right? We want that launch day, that first goal, that first ambition to be perfect in every way. And I tell you from experience, it's not about being perfect. It's about actually digging in and doing it. You don't have to be perfect. And a lot of times people will say to me, well, you don't seem to be someone that is best behind the camera, or someone that is the best photographer, or to someone that is really good at being creative. And I'm not, but I'm doing it. And I'm doing it because I love it. And I love doing it for each and every person that benefits from what it is that we do. And put that in your own world. You don't have to be the best at something. You don't have to be perfect at it, but you do have to try to move forward by doing it. And there's so many other situations. If you guys are talking about photography for a second, that one thing, I remember when I first started doing photography and taking pictures, I thought to myself, there's a lot of guys out there, and gals too for that matter, that do some really creative things in post. They capture that moment in the moment, but then you see from their editing and their post-production that they do in Lightroom or Photoshop or whatever app they use, they bring so much more color, they bring so much more game to that photo, and it really draws me in. And I started to ask some photographers that I knew personally, I said, what is it that you're doing? What am I not doing that you're doing besides understanding how to use the software? And they said, Branden, you will learn how to be good at doing the software. You'll learn better composition. You'll learn more about your camera, and you'll learn about depth of field and how to use your shutter speed. But you have to start acting like a professional and doing what professionals do, and that is shooting raw and shooting manually. And yes, some of those first photos that come out of the camera lens that aren't automatic and that are not JPEG won't have good color profile. They won't look good. They won't. But each and every time you take a photo using raw settings in your camera capture and taking manual photos, you will then have the data, you'll have the photo to help support your post-production creativity. And I have reflected on that now that I've been doing photography for about 4 years, and I go back to some of those photos that I first started taking when I made the decision to shoot raw and shoot manual. And today, with my knowledge that I have, I can do so much more with those photos. And that is so important for each and every one to realize that, again, it's about making that decision to move forward, to do that one thing different. And doing that one thing different is what is going to compel you forward in this next year. This 2021 might feel like it's still in a holding pattern and that you don't know what you're going to do with the next week, 3 months, or how this year is going to turn out. But I know along the way, if you guys each choose to do just one thing differently, do one thing to maximize your productivity, one thing to itch your creativity a little bit, you're going to find success in it. And I want that for you. And continue to reflect on this. In the last podcast, I talked about urgency and getting on the treadmill for myself and running that 1,000 miles, and how it was so important that I made the effort early to run 1,000 miles throughout the year in 2020, that I had to start early in the year by running 20 miles every single week. Because if I would have waited on it and waited until the second or third month and wasn't urgent about my goal, I would have found myself having to work harder to accomplish the same goal. But what's so important about that first mile, and I know there's a lot of you guys that don't like to run, and there's a lot of you that do love to run. I know the ones that love to run, myself included, we're crazy to think that that is something that we love to do. But there's something about getting that first mile in. It becomes easier once we accomplish that first mile. There's something about the momentum in our stride that continues to carry us forward. And that is so true in our daily planning, in planning for what it is that we want to accomplish. Once we start to move the needle and we get off those blocks, we will start to build a stride that'll continue to carry us forward each and every week as we continue to plan. Now, personal journaling. I want to comment on this a little bit. I had someone this week in a session that said, I need to use my electronic calendar. I need to use my Google iCal, my Google and my iCal. And I said to him, yeah, I get that. There's something about electronic notification that really gives us that sense of satisfaction to know that I don't have to think about what I'm doing next, because I'm going to get notified when I have to do it. Think about that for a second. I don't have to think about what I'm doing next, because I'm going to get notified when I need to do it. I'm pausing here because think of all the situations in your life where you sit down, you wait, and you wait for somebody else to tell you what it is to do. Is that making you a stronger leader? Is that helping you build your responsibility? Is that helping you achieve the success you want? I think back to when I was a kid. I learned foremost, if I wanted to get up in the morning in high school and go work out in the gym, I couldn't depend on my parents to wake me up to send me, because I had to get up earlier than them to get ready, get prepared for the day so I can make that extra effort, so I could get into the gym and become a better athlete, become stronger mentally and physically. Guys, don't count on electronic notifications. Yes, I get it. You want to integrate your notification service with a planner, but a planner is much more than an electronic calendar. A planner is where you put your own thoughts, your own beliefs, your ideas, your plans, and you structure your day, your week, and your year so that you can make it happen. You are owning your time. You're being responsible with it, and that is going to lead to satisfaction. That is going to give you the results that you need. So if you're someone that is sitting on the fence about daily planning and digital planning or even paper planning, and you're stuck on the fact that it doesn't tie into your iPhone or your Google Calendar, I'm telling you, that is your problem begins, because you're thinking and you're allowing electronic notification service to think and act for you. And maybe I'm making a bold statement here, but it's one that I live by. The moment you ditch the notification service and you become accountable for your own time and you check into your planner and look at the things that are on your plate throughout the day, you're going to see that you're going to get more satisfaction in your daily results. I promise you that. Absolutely promise you that. Now, this last week, it has been a struggle for a lot of us, myself included. There's been a lot that's happened in the U.S. And for those that listen from outside the U.S., I know that you're sitting back and looking at what us as a country is being challenged with right now. Don't allow those challenges, those outside forces to get into your head. It took me a few days to process that myself and to get my own head around it. But it doesn't change in the moment what you are capable of, because it's what you are capable of is what's going to help you out. And some of the challenges that we're facing in our politics here and the social media troubles that each and every one of us are dealing with definitely have a daily impact on how we think and how we feel and how we act. But it's still up to us to decide how we want to feel, how we want to act. That is really on us. And there was a saying that I had when I was in high school. It was actually, I was in FFA. And for those that know what FFA is today, it's the National FFA Organization. 30 years ago or 40 years ago, it was originally called Future Farmers of America. And it's evolved a lot. But for me, what was really exciting about FFA was there was a saying that says, you choose your attitude. Don't let the attitude of others choose you. Think about that as we begin to end up our day here. So guys, I want you to know I'm passionate about daily planning. I am definitely respect what it means to be successful with it. And I think you guys can see that through these videos, and we'll continue to do more of them. And if you haven't already, go ahead, subscribe to our podcast. Go ahead, hit the like button on this YouTube channel. I want others to grow in this experience, and we're going to continue to dive in this week and over the next couple of days about different ways to be efficient on different apps and different programs. So you're going to want to check that out. But I want to leave you with one last tip before we go here today. I've had a lot of Windows users that are using their desktop because you're in front of your computer and you've been starting to use your daily planner. And you've been saying to me, Branden, this is awesome. It's working for me, but I'm having a hard time getting the type to line up where it is I want to go. And for those that already know the trick, I've had to say it a handful of times. I'll continue to say it again. Go ahead, when you go ahead and you use that keyboard and you decide to type something out, type something out. As you can see here, hold this Alt key down and easily click on the container and move it, and it'll allow you to move wherever you want to put that type. The containers are really designed to help you kind of grid things off, but when you go ahead and click on the Alt key and hold that down as you move that container, it allows you to really move pixel by pixel, and this really helps you set up a great experience in the planner or really any digital notebook using OneNote. It's really helpful in a lot of ways. So guys, as you jump into this week, I want you to think about the one thing it is that you're going to do different. And I want you to all pause for a second and look at your ideal week. The ideal week is that page that really allows you to look at everything that's on your plate and structure it in a way that makes sense for you to accomplish your plans. And I want you to ask yourself, where in that ideal week have you cut out and carved out time for you to start accomplishing the goals, those action steps that are on your plate? And if you haven't, stop now, look at your ideal week, and I want you to dedicate 1 hour next week, and the week after, and the week after. And slowly, as you begin to work through those weeks and take that 1 hour, you will feel momentum. You'll feel that stride in your footstep as you continue to do it. And eventually you'll be able to carve out more time because the things that you're doing are starting to work for you in every way throughout your life. Guys, I'm excited. I'm ready for 2021. I'm ready to share this journey with you. It's going to be a fun one. Let's not let the politics in our universe get in the way of our plans. Let's make our own journey and reach our own destinations. I'm Branden Bodendorfer. Until we see each other again, thanks for tuning in.